Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Black Ops 2 In Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about stance and accuracy effects. In previous Call of Duty games, if you were to go prone or crouch, the accuracy of some sniper rifles, light machine guns, and the heavier assault rifles would increase, and I thought it would be good to test out Black Ops 2 to see how these weapons performed. Come to find out, there is no rule of thumb on stance effects in this game. I thought that I would just be able to blatantly say, oh, all light machine guns do one thing, and all sniper rifles do another thing, and all assault rifles do this thing over here. Turns out each and every weapon is programmed differently, so you get a different effect with each weapon. Some weapons have no effect, and they're not going to be talked about in this episode. I'm going to show you the wall test and explain the effects of each weapon by the effect, because I found that some weapons are actually less accurate when you change your stance, which is really, really crazy. There are two weapons in this game that get quite a significant effect from changing your stance. Those two are the XPR and the QBB. Here you can see me shooting the XPR about as fast as I can shoot it without oversampling, not correcting my recoil at all. If I am to go prone over here and do the exact same thing, shoot it as fast as I can, no recoil control, not moving the stick or the mouse or anything, you can see that it is considerably more accurate. So if you were to crouch or prone with this weapon, your amount of recoil between shots decreases drastically. For this reason, I would almost always recommend at least being crouched when you're using the XPR, because it makes it a much better weapon. I mean, just look how much tighter that is than all the random spread on the left. The QBB is not quite as extreme as the XPR, but you will see that I do get an accuracy boost. I'm going to fire off about 40-ish rounds here, not controlling my recoil at all, just letting it doing its own thing. And you can see that it's mostly vertical. I have to walk over here to it because the game only loads so many bullet holes at once, and those are going to start disappearing when I start firing these on the right. When I go prone and hold down the trigger, no recoil control at all, you can see that it is markedly less vertical recoil, much tighter cluster, and that makes it a much better weapon, so you would always want to crouch or prone with the QBB. There are two weapons in this game that I would say get a minor accuracy boost when you go crouch or prone. That is the SVU-as and the hammer. This is me shooting the SVU while standing, and I'm going to go prone. I'm going to shoot over here, and you'll see that the spread is a little bit tighter. It might be a little bit more precise. It's just it doesn't have quite as big of a circular spread, but it's nothing very significant. It probably won't change your gameplay a whole lot. Just keep in mind that if you want to do long range spraying, you may want to go prone or crouch, but in the medium to close range combat that most people use the sniper rifle, it won't make any difference. The hammer, with its multiple rates of fire, also gets a boost in accuracy, a minor boost. This is me firing the hammer, just holding down the trigger, no recoil control whatsoever, only fired off a few rounds there. And on the right side, while I'm prone, you can see that it is a little bit tighter. It's not a very big difference. This one might not even be significant. This might be the randomness that I'm talking about, but those are the results that I got. Always an oddball weapon, the AN-94 actually loses precision when I'm crouched or prone. I'm going to go ahead and shoot it while I'm prone here, and you can see it wobbles side to side a little bit. If I were to stand and fire this weapon, it will still kick up and technically not be all that accurate, but it is much more precise in that the recoil is mostly vertical and it is much less side to side wobble. I'll do this test again. I'm going to crouch and I'm going to shoot it, and you'll see it wobble side to side really more than I would like. But then if I stand and shoot the weapon, or I'm going to go prone again, sorry, it just doesn't compete with the standing fire. This is very typical of the pattern that I got with the AN-94. I have no idea why it does this, but it seems to be a little bit more precise and controllable just when I'm standing. The SCARH probably had the most interesting finding. This one is just markedly less accurate when I go crouched or prone. This is me shooting it standing up. It does some kind of spread like this. It's a bit of a random gun, but when I crouch, it seems to get significantly worse and kick higher. And in a second, you're going to see me go prone, and it's going to do just about as bad. I'm not necessarily sure why it does this. It just kicks way worse when I am either crouched or prone, and the standing is always the best accuracy. It does have a lot of randomness to it, but I did it about 3 or 4 times, and these results are fairly typical. It just seems to do worse when I prone. I just can't quite wrap my head around it, but that's what it does. I tested out most of the submachine guns, all of the other assault rifles, the handguns, all that sort of stuff. Nothing else seemed to be affected by stance. I did lots and lots of tests, and these are the only weapons that seem to be having any accuracy effects by stance. So I would say that nothing else is affected by stance at all, and not really worth talking about. I can't just go through each and every weapon and say nothing. If I didn't mention it, it's not changed. The weapons in Black Ops 2 do have a lot of random recoil. They they redid the recoil mechanics just a little bit so that they are much more random than they were in previous Call of Duty games. Previous games, they were very, very predictable. I could get the same patterns over and over and over again. And this game, it was difficult to get a consistent pattern out of these weapons. The examples that I showed you were the most typical patterns that I found. I probably did each of these tests close to 7 or 8 times to see if I could get something going on. But it is quite random, and I may be wrong about this. I may be just unlucky and the guns are performing oddly, but that's the best data that I have. As far as recommendations for use on this, the most useful ones are to remember the AN94 is better when you're standing. The SCARH is also better when you're standing. They're not, well, the SCARH is actually really bad if you go prone or crouch, so do keep that in mind. The AN94 doesn't make the biggest difference in the world, but I like to run and gun with that weapon, so it just gives me all the more reason to stand up. If you like to spray and pray with the XPR, it makes a huge, huge difference if you're crouched or if you're prone. In the gameplay you see, I'm just kind of like going for crouch and prone shots, but that makes a very, very big difference. The QBB seems to be a much more accurate weapon when you're crouched or prone. The MK48 and the LSAT didn't seem to make any difference. So if you like the QBB, if you use the QBB, I would really recommend just crouching all the time because you can head glitch over a lot of cover and shoot more accurately, and that's very important for a weapon like that that has a considerable amount of recoil over range, and it worked out pretty well for me. Anyway, I would tell you to take all of this with a grain of salt, and I would highly recommend that you go and test it yourself and get back to me and tell me what kind of results you found. Well guys, that's all for this episode. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you learned something useful. If you'd like to check out my previous episode, which was on the AN94, you can click the box on the left. If you'd like to check out my next episode, which is actually going to be on the foregrip, because I still need to level up for the M8A1 episode, you can click the box on the right when it's live. As always, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.